On how to fit a connecting rod back into a housing for a P38 Range Rover. As you can see, I've temporarily fitted the liner onto the seal until I'm ready to actually fit this back into the housing. So first of all, we need to locate the motor shaft flat so that the flat is pointing towards the grub screw hole on the side. The flat is 90 degrees vertical, pointing exactly to this hole position. The next step, I usually scribe a line on the counterweight which denotes the position of the grub screw hole. This helps to locate the counterweight in the correct position so that you can tighten the grub screw quickly when you're assembling the connecting rod. Before we remove the piston liner and fit this back onto the shaft, it's a good idea before you fitted your new seal to make sure that this connecting rod fits back onto the shaft by hand relatively easily without the use of too much force. It should go on, it should slide all the way onto the shaft by hand in an ideal scenario, so that when you remove this liner you can generally fit this connecting rod and tighten the grub screw in round about, say, 20 seconds would be pretty good. Okay, so we now are ready to fit the connecting rod back into the housing. So first thing we do is we remove the liner. We then position the connecting rod back into the housing, and with your finger you can rotate the counterweight until the line on the counterweight is horizontal. You then locate the shaft, and then the shaft, it should slide all the way home. You then get your Allen key, and with the line horizontal, you then just nip the grub screw up. You then can just gently tap the end of the connecting rod just so you know that it's fully home. Rotate the counterweight so that your piston seal is at the highest point. You then get your piston liner and place a smear of dielectric silicone grease on the inside of the liner, only a very slight smear. This will allow the liner to be assembled more efficiently, and it will allow the new seal to bed in when you first switch the compressor on. So when fitting this liner, you position it at 45 degrees and then you rotate to the horizontal and then seat the liner in the housing. It's a good idea to check that the liner is in exact centre of the housing itself. There are two witness marks in the bottom. The liner should be in the exact centre of these marks. If it's over to one side, then the connecting rod is either not fully in its home position, or the connecting rod itself is slightly bent. That could have happened from a previous repair where somebody's wedged the connecting rod and bent the connecting rod slightly. But it's a good visual check that everything is on centre before you replace any further parts on the housing. If the connecting rod is not in the centre, then you could find that the seal would wear on one side and the performance and longevity of the seal may be jeopardised. So once you've done it to this stage, it's now time to fully tighten the grub screw up on the side. So holding the compressor liner, you can rotate the counterweight so that the marked line is horizontal. As you can see, you've got the line which is pointing towards the grub screw hole. Now it's time to fully tighten the grub screw. Make sure this grub screw is tight. The next step is to fit the housing grub screw into this hole here. Holding on to the top of the liner, you can now rotate the crankshaft, and you can see that the piston seal is operating correctly. It's now time to reassemble the rest of the components on the housing, which you can check out in my other videos.